call to order the regular June 18th, 2012 meeting of the Robertson County Commission. I want to ask Commissioner Bobby Couch to come and lead us in our invocation and be followed by the pledge to the flag. Please stand.
Let's pray. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight. We're grateful for all of your blessings. We ask, Lord, that you would continue to bless this county and this state and this country. We ask, Lord, that you would bless our soldiers in foreign lands. We ask, Lord, that you would give this commission guidance and lead and direct us in your way. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioners, if you'll press yes and confirm, you will be registered in the system. There being 20 commissioners present and 4 absent, I declare that we do have a quorum. You have in your packets or online the minutes from the May meeting. What's your pleasure? Have a motion by Commissioner Brown, second by Commissioner DiOrio, that they be approved. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. So they are approved. Commissioner Wilson has asked me to remind you of the Martin's Chapel Barbecue coming up Saturday evening, which is a tradition goes back many, many years. And if you leave hungry, it's your own fault. 4 to 8 at Martin's Chapel. Always have a great turnout for that, and very worthy cause to support that church. So hope that you'll put that on your calendar for this Saturday. And at this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Paul Bracey and his daughter if she'll come up, and Miss Martha too, for just a moment for us to say thank you.
I thought that was his daughter. You want me to come around this way?
Yeah, all of you come back here so Walter can get you on TV. Many of you who have been on the commission, especially for a long time, know how time-consuming and what a personal sacrifice it is of your time to serve in this capacity. But tonight we're honoring a gentleman who had been in some form of county service, either on the as a member of the county commission or as a member of the appeals board, for a total of 45 years. Not many folks are willing to give of themselves in that kind of degree for that period of time, but we are very grateful to Mr. Paul Bracey. He was a member of the county commission back 40 years ago when I came on the county commission. He had already been around for a while and stayed in that capacity until sometime in the 1980s, and then came on the appeals board. And I'm going to read the plaque, and then Ms. Martha, if you'd like to come say a few words. This is quite simply presented to Mr. Paul Bracey in appreciation for 45 years of dedicated service to the people of Robertson County, 1966 to 2011. Mr. Paul, we are indebted to you. This community is indebted to you, and we want to say thank you. Thank you.
Like to say, there's a statement that when you're having fun, how time passes. It doesn't seem like in 1976, when I came to be employed with the Robertson County Planning Office, that Mr. Bracey at that time was on the county court. He also served on our planning commission for many years. When he served, there were 11 members at one time, and there were nights, as I was telling Mr. Jones, our planning commission chairman now, that we met for 3 hours. So Tommy, you may have seen a few of those nights too, but he also has served on our appeals board, and I would use the word committed. He is one of the most committed persons. He always attended the meetings. Very seldom did he miss a planning commission meeting or an appeals board meetings. And some of those meetings were not meetings that maybe were too much fun to attend, but he was always there and willing to serve. And my thanks to you, Mr. Paul.
Thank you, Martha.
You come back, Paul.
Let me say a few words. I worked with 5 county judges, Mr. Meigs, no, Bob West was the first one. And Mr. Brand was the last one. I enjoyed working with them. We had a lot of difficulties, but we tried to work them out. When I came on, we didn't have any water in the county, didn't have any gas in the county, very few blacktop in the county. Didn't have any fire department, had one fire truck here in the county. Now, I'm not saying I did it, I'm just saying what the circumstance was when we started. Got MS service. This is a good county. Y'all are doing a good job, and we ought to be proud of our county. So that's about all I got to say.
Next are reports, and the first one the chair has is 7.1, which is from the Highway Department. Questions or comments? 7.2 is the trustee's statement. Questions or comments? 7.3 is from Animal Control. Questions or comments?
I noticed that the euthanasia are probably increasing and the adoption are decreasing. Is there a reason for that?
I don't know the answer to that, and David is not here. The last account that I heard was that we had still not had to euthanize an animal for space since last September. So I'm assuming that means that the animals that had been brought in were ill, but we'll get an answer about that because I was curious about that same fact. 7.4 is the inmate expense report. Questions or comments? 7.5 is a report from solid waste. Questions or comments? 7.6 is a report from the finance department. Questions or comments? 7.7 is a request from the veteran service officer. Questions or comments? 7.8 is a report from EMA. Questions or comments? 7.9 is a report from the fire service. Questions or comments? 7.10 is a report from the planning commission. Questions or comments? 7.11 is a report from EMS. Questions or comments? 7.12 is a report from the Gorham-McBain Public Library. Questions or comments? And those are the reports that the chair has. What's your pleasure?
Accept and file.
Have a motion they be accepted and ordered and filed. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no, so they are approved. I'm sorry? Who was the second? I didn't catch the second. Didn't have a second. Second, please. Commissioner Farmer, second that motion. Sorry for that. Jody, stand up, please. Most of you by now have met my new Chief of Staff, Miss Jody Ballard, but I wanted you to be able to put a face with a name, and when you need to contact me and I'm elusive or out of the county, as I unfortunately am a lot of the time, please feel free to contact Jody, and she will see that your needs are met. We're really glad to have her on staff. She comes to us through Chrysler Elementary, so I'm glad to have her on board. She's a good addition to our staff. Next, under elections and appointments, I'm going to recognize Commissioner Vogel for the Library Board, members that are being reappointed.
Mr. Chairman, Madam Clerk, fellow commissioners, and ladies and gentlemen in the audience, we just got one little matter with the Library Board, and I'll take a second, and then we'll name them and tell them the term.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones.
Okay. It's Sherry Eden, Linda Thompson, Mary Sue Head. These three are serving presently and would like to serve again to the year 2015.
Motion and second. Commissioner Jones, great. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, so they are elected. Thank you.
Good job,
I'm
Bill.
going to recognize now Mrs. Martha Wilkinson, our Director of Planning, for our public hearing. If you are here to speak in favor of or in opposition to any issue of rezoning, if you'll please stand and state your name for the clerk, and you'll have a chance to make your statement. Ms. Martha.
We have two requests tonight. The first resolution's for Mr. John N. Webb. He is requesting 1.01 acres located on Jamestown Road, the 7th Civil District, the 11th Voting District, have a change of zoning from AG2 to low-density residential. The Planning Commission reviewed this at our last meeting and voted 7-0 for you to rezone.
Anyone here to speak to that resolution? Ms. Martha.
The second resolution is from Mr. Neil Stone. He is requesting 1.01 acres located on Kenny's Road, 8th Civil District, the 7th Voting District, have a change of zoning from AG2 to R40, which is low-density residential district. The vote of the Planning Commission for you to rezone was 7-0.
Anyone here to speak to that resolution? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing at this time and bring these two resolutions back for your consideration. Have a motion for approval by Commissioner DeOrio and second by Commissioner Brown. Question has been called for. So if you're in favor of these two resolutions, if you'll vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. There being 20 votes in favor, none opposed, and 4 absent, I declare that resolution approved. Thank you, Ms. Martha. I'm going to recognize now Mr. Bob Hogue from the Planning Office, who has two resolutions to amend zoning resolutions.
Thank you, Mr. Bradley. We have two resolutions that have come from the Planning Commission to amend the zoning. The first being the on accessory buildings, and this is something that has become a major issue over the years. It's always been something that's been there and has been talked about, but the economy has now driven where we used to see maybe one of these a year. We're now seeing at least one a month, where people want to have an accessory apartment at their dwellings, and we're finding these. Neighbors are turning them in. The building inspector is finding them when he goes out and does building inspections, where people come in and say they're going to build a garage, and this garage turns out to be two-car garages and a one-bedroom apartment with a kitchen and everything in it, and it's just becoming more and more the norm of what people are asking for. This has been going on for years. In fact, last month you saw a rezoning that was a result of one of these. This was one of the lucky few that was able to rezone their property, cut their garage that they had made into a living unit off, and have a separate living unit. But what we're asking you to consider on this is this proposal that will make accessory apartments a conditional use that will go before the Board of Zoning Appeals. I see a few members of the Board of Appeals sitting here tonight, so this may be some more work that you'll receive coming before you, but it'll establish regulations by which we can approve a person that wants to create an apartment for an aging parent, a child and spouse that may be down on their luck. They've lost their job or something else, and they want to establish a place for them to live on their property. And this is a way to legitimize it. In all of the years since Robertson County adopted zoning back in 1972, this has never been allowed. So this is something that Mr. Baggett, Mr. DeOrio will tell you we've discussed on the Planning Commission for several years, and it just now seems to be the time to present this to you for consideration.
Have a motion by Commissioner DeOrio, and is there a second? Second by Commissioner Garner. Now discussion, questions. Commissioner McAfee.
Will this supersede any deed restrictions
Well, zoning never supersedes deed restrictions. Deed restrictions will always, in the courts, will always take precedent over zoning. But this will allow where there are no restrictions, is where someone can come in here and have an accessory apartment, provided they meet the conditions set forth in this resolution.
Other questions? Mr. Farmer?
What about temporary for somebody remodeling or making some changes in the house?
We have established currently, if you happen to have a fire in your house, temporary regulations for repairing your house and so forth. We also have temporary regulations established that where if you have a medical need, say you had a parent that needed you need to bring in, that they needed constant care, but you didn't want them, they didn't want to live in your house, you could have a temporary, but these were only temporary, and then they had to be removed after service. This would allow somebody to go in there, if they spend the money to do this would allow them, if they meet these conditions, where this situation can remain permanent. The case I mentioned that we had rezoned last month is that this was originally done for the wife's parents, and her father has since passed away, but they had spent this money on this structure, and they wanted to move her son into it. So otherwise they were going to have to remove all of the kitchen and so forth that makes it a separate dwelling unit. So it would have been a great expense. So this is kind of as a result. One thing about zoning is zoning changes, situations changes, times changes, and this is as a result of times changing.
As a member of the appeals board, I can concur with what Mr. Hogue said, except one thing. You said this would not make our name easier. It will make it easier because you're going to eliminate the gray areas and you're going to have black and white. And I recommend it.
Other questions? Commissioner Eden?
Mr. Hogue, these specifications, as example, the 650-foot minimum, the 1,000-foot maximum, the 50% or the 50% of the porch place on the bottom floor and separated by 35 feet. Did we get these specifications from an existing document at the state, or did we make them up ourselves?
We borrowed them from several different places. We borrowed them from several other communities that have such a provision in their regulations. This was the committees, the committee of the Planning Commission that meets periodically to discuss and recommend changes to the zoning resolution. This was the conditions they felt best suited the needs of Robertson County.
Other questions?
More importantly, it gives life safety the utmost attention from our building codes to make sure that they're safe to live in.
Other questions? Question's been called for. Seeing no opposition question being put, if you're in favor, vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. There being 20 votes in favor, none opposed, and 4 absent, I declare that approved. Mr. Hogue.
Our second resolution has to do with junkyards and salvage yards. And as most of you know, Robertson County has had the provision that if you had over 5 junked or disabled motor vehicles on your property, that was classified as a junkyard. That's been the regulation for many years now. We've had some cases brought before us and some suggestions that came before the Planning Commission and the Zoning Committee that we needed to look into maybe treating smaller lots different, because five vehicles on a 5+ acre tract is not the same as putting 5 vehicles on an acre tract. And what we've done is we've come up with, basically, if you have up to 2.5 acres, we will allow you 2 junk vehicles on your property, and 4 vehicles for tracts up to 5 acres. The tracts 5 acres and above, we're not doing anything to them. They can still have the 5, but the committee and the citizens that came before the committee felt like that we needed to look at this differently, because the impact of a number of vehicles on a small tract was a lot greater than it was on a large tract.
Okay, have a motion for approval. Motion by DeOrio. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Baggett. Discussion. Questions?
Is this just licensed vehicles you're talking about?
Unlicensed vehicles.
Yeah, but what about boats? You need just cars and trucks?
Cars and trucks. Cars and trucks.
Other questions?
So you could have anything other than cars and trucks, and you can put 6 Ferris wheels in there.
6 Ferris wheels.
Well, I mean, we don't want to say 6 Ferris wheels, because we have had some citizens with a whole lot of junk on their property that may have once been a Ferris wheel, but this has to do with just a number of vehicles, because we've had some citizens call the office. They've called other county commissioners. They've called planning commission members, and they said, and they've expressed the fact is that somebody with 5 junk vehicles on their property with an acre is just kind of thumbing their nose at them, because they've got them concentrated in a large spot, where somebody with 5 acres, they may be scattered over the whole 5 acres.
So we think if
Mr.
you
Couch.
get more acreage, you should be allowed more junk vehicles.
That's correct. We're leaving the larger tracts alone. We're leaving it just as it is now. We're only affecting smaller tracts.
Well, I'm trying to understand. I really don't think it's all right to have, I don't.
No. Right now, we allow you to have 5 unlicensed disabled motor vehicles, and that's period. I mean, and so it doesn't matter whether you have 1 acre or 500 acres, and so when you go over 5, that's when you violate the regulations. What's been brought to the Planning Commission's attention is that when you have some people that have 5 vehicles on 1 acre, that's a whole lot more intense, for the neighbors to look at than it would be for somebody with 5 on a larger tract. And they felt like we needed to have a situation where they should have less on smaller tracts than they do on larger tracts.
Depends on the number of dogs you have under the porch, Commissioner Couch. Commissioner Eden.
Two for 2.5 and less, and then 4 for under 5 acres.
All ready? Call for question. Commissioner Doyle, you want to have the parting shot?
I would invite any commissioner to come to the Health and Safety Board meetings where we have junkyards 20 at a time come in. This is a step in the right direction. We're not there yet, but at least it's a step in the right direction.
Thank you for that. Okay, question's been called for. If you're in favor of this resolution, vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. Mr. Doris, are you still voting? Oh, no, I think you're there. You're there. Commissioner DeOrio is voting.
Well, that's not me this week.
Got a malfunction there, Madam Clerk.
Filibuster.
Thank you. Wait a minute. Let's see, that was,
I thought you wanted to do it.
Made the motion.
you wish to change your vote to yes? Okay. All right, let the minutes show that there are 19 votes in favor, 1 opposed, and 4 absent. That declare that resolution approved. Thank you, Mr. Hogue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission.
We'll have a quick battery swap out there.
Just glad it's not me this week.
You'll notice we have a number of budget amendments that are kind of housekeeping areas, and in the absence of Commissioner Adcock, who is chairman of the Budget Committee, I'm going to recognize Commissioner James Bowens of the Budget Committee for a number of these budget amendments. Commissioner Bowens.
County Clerk Ashley, County Commissioner, ladies and gentlemen of the audience. I bring you tonight Resolution 0618-12006, a resolution to amend the zoning resolution of the Robertson County, Tennessee, amending article as identified. Sorry. I thought she had them up here. The resolution amending the budget for Robertson County, Tennessee for the fiscal year ending June the 30th, 2012. Be resolved by the Board of Commissioners, Robertson County, that the budget for Robertson County for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2012 is hereby amended as. Could I get a second on that, please?
Second by Commissioner Bryant. Mr. Bowens.
General fund, we have revenue, which is non-expense account. It's a line item, account, which is 3885. And this is a balance amendment.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Question's been called for. If you're in favor of this resolution, vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. There being 20 votes in favor, none opposed, and 4 absent, I declare that resolution approved. Mr. Bowens.
Next resolution is 0618-12048, a resolution amending the budget of Robertson County, Tennessee for the fiscal year ending June 20, 2012. Be resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Robertson County that the budget of Robertson County for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2012 is hereby amended as follows. I move for the adoption.
And is there a second? By Commissioner Diorio. Mr. Bowens.
Okay, this is an operating transfer. If you notice in your, that's $20,000, and expense is $20,000 also, and this is going into the trustee commission, and this is done every year. And this is a balance amendment.
Any questions? Question has been called for. If you're in favor of this resolution, vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. There being 20 votes in favor, none opposed, and 4 absent, I declare that resolution approved. Commissioner Bowens.
Next resolution is 0618-12049, a resolution amending the budget for Robertson County, Tennessee for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2012. Be resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Robertson County that the budget of Robertson County for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2012 is hereby amended as follows. I do move for its passage.
Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Eden. Commissioner Bowens.
If you notice in your budget for 11 and 12, you have $45,948 there, and this is the operating transfer to go into debt service. This is a balanced amendment.
Questions? Questions called for. If you're in favor of this resolution, please vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. There being 20 votes in favor, none opposed, and 4 absent, I declare the resolution approved. Commissioner Bowens.
Another resolution is 0618-12059, 5-0, a resolution amending the budget for Robertson County, Tennessee for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2012. Be resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Robertson County that the budget of Robertson County for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2012 is hereby amended as follows. I move for its approval.
Is there a second? Second by Commissioner McAfee. Mr. Bowens.
This is a grant that was received by the Circuit Court and was used as a capital outlay. This is a balance amendment.
Place.
Question's been called for. If you're in favor of this resolution, vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. 20 votes in favor, none opposed, and 4 absent. I declare that resolution approved. Commissioner Bowens.
Resolution 0618-12051. A resolution amending the budget for Robertson County, Tennessee for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2012. Be resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Robertson County that the budget of Robertson County for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2012 is hereby amended as follows. I move for its approval.
Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Bowens.
This is a state grant that for election that had in March, which was $26,400, and she's using this. You can see it's outlined it, what you use for part-time, Social Security, and all those things. It is a balance amendment.
Question been called for. If you're in favor of this resolution, please vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time.
James, you're on a roll, aren't you?
I don't know.
There being 20 votes in favor and none opposed and 4 absent, I declare that resolution approved. If the chair's information is correct, Madam Clerk, this is Resolution 21 that replaced the Resolution 21 that was in the packet and online. Is that correct? Okay, so Commissioner Bowens.
This is revised resolution right here, which is 018-12052. A resolution amending the budget for Robertson County, Tennessee for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2012. Be resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Robertson County that the budget of Robertson County for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2012 is hereby amended as follows. I move for approval.
Have a motion. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Bryant. Any discussion?
This is a housekeeping for the Board of Education. Each year they move money around to end up for summer school. Just a balance amendment.
Question? Question been called for. If you're in favor of this resolution, please vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. Mr. Bowens.
This is Resolution 0618-12053, a resolution to adopt a continuing budget for a tax rate of the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2012, and to authorize the issuing of the tax participation note for the county of Robertson County. I can read if you want me to, but it's the thing that we do every year until we get a budget passed. I move for its adoption.
Have a motion. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Couts. Any discussion? If you're in favor of this resolution,
Question.
please vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. With 20 votes in favor, none opposed, and 4 absent, I declare that resolution approved. Commissioner Bowens.
This is Resolution 618-12054, a resolution to renew the county contract with the State Department of Mental Health. This is something that we do every year to renew the contract with the state. And so I move for its passage.
The motion, is there a second? Second by Commissioner DeOrio. Any discussion? Question's been called for. If you're in favor of this resolution, please vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. There being 20 votes in favor, none opposed, and 4 absent, I declare that resolution approved. Commissioner Bowens.
This is Resolution 0618-12055. A resolution amended the budget for Robertson County, Tennessee for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2012. Be resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Robertson County that the budget of Robertson County for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2012 is hereby amended as follows. Move for adoption.
Have a motion. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Bryant. At this juncture, I'm going to entertain a motion to make Ms. Jody Stewart a member of this body. Jody has, I think, some information that might be germane to this decision. Have a motion by Commissioner Haley and a second by Commissioner Garner. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. So our Finance Director, if she will come forward, she will, I think, tell you where we are on this, and then I'll be glad to make any additions that may be required. Ms. Jody Stewart, Finance Director.
We're needing to do this budget resolution. It was in regards to a patient named Beverly Jamison. It was a new law that come into effect July 1st, 2010, where the counties now pay for any kind of a mental evaluation for any kind of a misdemeanor. Well, she ended up getting put in the Tennessee Mental Health Facility, and I believe it was for 154 days. But the county, we're trying to negotiate the price down on it. And as of today, I talked to Dr. Fikes. So far, he's negotiated only down to $40,500. So I've asked him to take it back because I had thought that we were going to pay a lot less than that. Melanie Stark wrote a letter explaining everything that happened, and she thought there was a state statute that said we were only responsible for 30 days, but evidently that state statute and the date that this happened don't coincide exactly, so he said he would take it back to his committee. So as of right now, we could either change this to $40,500. I don't have anything in writing, it was just verbal, but we won't pay it until we get a negotiated price. It's just something that came up that we have to pay for.
Mr. Gray.
That was $69,300.
Yes, sir.
And they reduced it to $40,500.
As of today at 4 o'clock when I talked to Dr. Fikes.
Is that all they'll do?
No, I've told him that he's going to take it back. I'm hoping it's going to be at least half is what I told him. And I told him I was very disappointed because Melanie Stark thought that we would only have to pay for 1 month.
What would 1 month be?
$13,500. Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
McAfee. That it is still in place and it could happen again.
Yes.
And that's why we're trying to be very diligent in terms of, I think we're very aware on the General Sessions judge's side. We're trying to make the criminal judges more aware of this. This change occurred when we entered into this contract last year. We were told that this would amount to a day or two evaluation. This lady was treated for 154 days before anyone in the county knew she was there. When we received the first invoice, she had already been there for a number of days. And this was basically done by a state judge and a state district attorney's office without the county being involved in any aspect of this except the payment. There was no gatekeeper. There was no one checking to see how her process was going, and that she was supposed to be there for evaluation and not for treatment. So that's why we continue to feel good about our protest in terms of this total amount, because we think it was erroneously charged to us. I wish I could say yes, but they aren't currently in place. If the judge sends this person for this evaluation, they go to the evaluation. What we're trying to get a handle on is how we can know that they're there and how we can make sure that they're expedited through the process. And this is what complicates this. This only applies to people who are charged with misdemeanors. If it's a felony, then the state picks up the entire tab for evaluation, which is always very expeditious. But when the tab was passed down to the county, then it becomes a little more languid.
Where is this lady now?
I don't know.
She's still in there. She's still there, and
Still accruing.
she's still
fees.
there, and now the state is picking up the tab.
That was my question, is she still accruing funds?
Nope, it all stopped when Clyde Richards sent a letter, I believe, in December.
Mr. Eden?
If it is getting political, have our state elected officials, our senator and our representative got involved yet, or are they still out of the loop?
Not to my knowledge.
Not to my knowledge.
Not to my knowledge. Commissioner McAfee?
Isn't this something that would fall under the auspices of Medicaid?
Mr. Garner?
It would not. This is a competency determination for proceeding with trial or any other proceedings.
But she's receiving treatment, it wasn't just an evaluation, she's also receiving treatment.
But it's a court-ordered treatment in order to determine if she's competent to stand trial.
Or a misdemeanor.
Yes. Commissioner Gray?
The sheriff's department had to assume the responsibility of transporting her over there and paying for that out of their budget?
I'm not sure of that. That would be a question for the sheriff.
I don't know the answer to that either. I don't know how she got there. I don't know that. Commissioner McAfee?
I'd like to make a motion to table this until we get a final figure.
A motion to table supersedes debate. The chair will simply make the comment that this resolution was included tonight at the, what's the best term, Ms. Stewart, request of the State Comptroller's Office to show it as an accounts receivable. In other words, to show that the county does owe something, even though the amount has not been determined. But as I said before, motion to table cuts off debate. So we have a motion to table and a second by Commissioner Garner. All those in favor of the motion to table, please vote yes and confirm. Those opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. There being 13 votes in favor, 7 opposed, and 4 absent, I declare that motion is tabled. Thank you, Ms. Stewart. Any old business to come before this body? Under new business, I would like to make a statement and then give each of you an opportunity, or any of you an opportunity to comment, or at least a chance at least to put this into the record. Over the past few weeks, all of you should have received either an email or a hard copy letter that I received from Mr. Paul Nutting, the Springfield City Manager, and from Mr. Gerald Herman, the White House City Manager, over the future of our consolidated E911 dispatch. And I think anyone who reads the letter knows that we are probably entering into a new era, a new phase of cooperation with those two cities in regards to emergency dispatch. Quite simply, what Springfield and White House are telling us is that they are not willing to continue to supplement the county's portion of emergency dispatch in terms of supplementing the amount of money that it costs to supply dispatch to the smaller cities and to the emergency fire departments. Springfield points out the fact that they send us some monthly numbers in terms of which department has which numbers of calls, and according to their statistics, their calls are in the 25 to 29% range, and yet they are picking up approximately half of the cost of dispatch. I think that wherever this may go, it's incumbent upon us to at least begin to try to address this relationship. What I have asked the Budget Committee to consider, and they have not said yes or no at this point, but I think ultimately whatever decision they make will be a decision that will be reflective of this entire body. What I've asked them to consider is the fact that Springfield and White House basically say that that we are undercapitalized in the amount of $260,000 per year in terms of the operation. In a meeting that I held about a month ago with Mr. Nutting and Mr. Richard, our county attorney, was present, I did tell them that I would come to you and I would make the proposal that Robertson County forward an extra $130,000, that's basically half the cost of what they think is short, with the stipulation that we move in the following year to making the employees of emergency dispatch E911 employees rather than the City of Springfield employees. I'm not sure how many of you know how that operation works, but about 2 years ago we entered into consolidated dispatch with our county dispatchers, which had been part of the sheriff's office, then going into the City of Springfield to be employed by them. So now they are all City of Springfield employees. But in order for us to address that situation, and I think to find a comprehensive resolution to this, I think long term we need to be looking at these people becoming E911 employees. Another caveat to that, or to look at it from another perspective, is this. When we entered into the relationship 2 years ago, up until that time, Robertson County had always paid for the cost of emergency dispatch to the smaller cities and to the volunteer fire departments. Springfield and White House now say they are helping us finance that dispatch, and that's what they don't want to continue to do. So I wanted to make sure that, first of all, that you had all received either the email or the hard copy letter about that, and to face the fact that at some point, and I would say some point between now and the time you adopt a budget in late August, this is something that you as a body are going to have to make a decision about. Now, I'll be happy to give you an opportunity to speak or to ask questions if you have any, and we'll go from that point. I'll recognize Commissioner McAfee first.
It's my understanding, the number of years that the phone bills all have a charge on them for emergency services. How much of that goes towards the cost of the 911?
That goes toward the building and the cost of the equipment which the E911 Center owns, but by statute, that money cannot be spent on dispatchers. So dispatchers have to be paid for by local funds generated by local governments. Commissioner Brown.
So are we saying that their budgets have increased since we've done this consolidation by $260,000?
No.
Is that what they're saying?
No. What they're saying is, to put it in round terms, Springfield says that they account for approximately 28% of the calls that are generated by the center, and they should pay for 28% of those calls.
So what we're saying, though, so I can interpret my little accounting brain, is they have not spent any more money through the consolidation, but when we consolidated, they like a reduction because they feel like there's more calls.
Correct. Because when you total up those numbers, and of course those numbers vary every month, but somewhere between 25 and 30% of those calls are generated by Springfield. Approximately 12% or so are generated by White House. About 5% are generated by Greenbrier. So it breaks out along those lines. Springfield and White House's contention is that they want to pay for their percentage of the calls and not help us supplement the departments that are not paying anything. Commissioner Eden.
Is it more economical, now that we're 2 years into this, to operate in a consolidated form like we're doing? And specifically, are we paying about the same as we paid before when we took all those calls at the county level? Is it more economical? In other words, is this worth saving?
Well, I can only express an opinion anecdotally. There should be some economies in scale. It should make sense to have all the calls coming into a central place in terms of how the calls are distributed. When the county employees became city employees, that automatically made them cost more because Springfield's pay was greater and their benefits were greater. So in terms of the economy of that, then obviously it cost us more, but I think the commission went into that thinking that it would be worth it, in other words, to have a more efficient system. And to my knowledge, operationally, the system works well. But the problem has been from these cities now who chafe at what they consider to be a burden that's not truly theirs. So I think that's what's driving that. Other questions? Commissioner DiOrio.
I guess I'm a little confused. I was on the ad hoc committee that watched this change when we combined with Springfield, and it seemed like the money was going to stay basically the same. We were going to pay the salaries. I guess I'm at a loss why now that White House has got a vote on the 911 board.
The user board.
The user board, and Springfield, that now all of a sudden we're going to look at another way of doing business. I would like for us to look at this before we send any money anywhere and come up with a plan, and if it means that we consolidate as a county or whatever we have to do to make it for the entire county, if they want to dispatch their own or have their own dispatch, maybe that's an option that would be left to them to decide if they want to be part of that or not.
I understand that, and I think you definitely do, and I'm certainly not seeking any kind of action tonight. But I think ultimately what this body has to consider is the future of the relationship with the smaller cities and the volunteer departments, because 2 years ago you were picking up the tab for that by yourselves, by the county by itself, and I think that one way or the other we're going to be back to that state pretty quickly, if not this year, then certainly next. But I do see the wisdom in making all of these employees E911 employees rather than City of Springfield employees. And I think we can move in that direction, but that won't happen overnight. That will take some time. So that's why I think it's worth considering as is. Other questions or comments? Commissioner Stubblefield.
Is this contract set out there for? I mean, was this contract entered into? Does it expire?
It does not. It does not. I think there's a 90-day reverter clause. I'm not sure what the length of time is, but Sheriff says no, so I don't know the answer to that. But there's no end to it in terms of the contractual obligation that I'm aware of. Commissioner Garner.
Have there been any other municipalities brought into the discussion?
No, the only, as I said, the letters that I've received have been from Springfield and White House, and I forwarded those to you as soon as I received them because I wanted you to know where we were, and I've had a number of phone calls from the Springfield city manager inquiring as to where we were, and I've told him what the proposal that I took to the budget committee, and I also assured him that I would bring this to your attention tonight. They are nearing the end of their budget year, just as we are too, but they'll have a budget in place by July 1st where we will not. So that's why I wanted you to at least be thinking about it tonight. Commissioner Haley.
Is it a possible solution to have representation from the municipalities on the dispatcher as dispatchers?
In terms of them picking up part of the tab?
Correct.
I think that would be a determination that the E911 board would make once all these people became E911 employees. But then the question arises, if municipality A doesn't decide to participate financially, do we continue to dispatch for them? So
Understand.
I was talking to my counterpart in Cheatham County this morning. Cheatham County picks up the tab for everybody in Cheatham County. They dispatch for everyone. And that may be the norm. I don't know, but that's just, we haven't had to face this in the past because we've always done it for the smaller departments by ourselves up until 2 years ago when all that changed. So this is where we are.
Mr. Chairman, you think about calling a meeting with all the mayors and sit down with them and let everybody have a say rather than what Mr. Nutting said?
Well, I'm happy to do that. I think we would be fortunate to get half those to attend, but I'd be happy to attempt to do that. But ultimately, I think it's obvious, I think the handwriting's on the wall that the relationship that we have with Springfield and White House's days are numbered. And so whether these smaller cities begin to share part of the burden or not, we will have to decide if we want to ask them to, and if they opt not to, are we willing to go back to doing what we were doing 2 years ago? Commissioner McAfee.
Is this something the 911 board should be working on?
Well, they haven't been asked to do anything yet. I think we'll have to, I think one of the first steps will be for us to request E911 to take all of these employees in, or that's assuming that Springfield and White House stays in the consortium. But whether they do or don't, I think that all the dispatch people should move toward the E911 employment, but that's something that the board will have to make a determination on. Anyone else?
So,
Mr. Council.
so they're not paying any more, White House and Springfield aren't paying any more than they did?
Correct.
They
Correct.
haven't increased their funding. They simply are trying to cut it.
Correct. Correct. Commissioner Duggar.
When this change was made 2 years ago, who wanted the change, the county or Springfield?
I think both entities strongly endorsed it because it seemed to make sense in terms of the economy and scale, and I found no opposition to it 2 years ago. Everybody just thought it was a logical way to go, and it does make sense. It's just now we're down to the point where we're pinching pennies on both sides. You probably have heard that the city manager asked the city for a 5-cent increase, and they turned that down. So, you know, they're quite literally over at City Hall looking under the couch for dimes and quarters, and this is the result of that. So that's the situation we find ourselves in. Commissioner Stubblefield.
I have heard, and I think I need to have this cleared up because I'm not the only one that's heard it, that they threaten to either continue on like we are now with the 911 dispatching, or if they did that, they would not pay their part of the library expenses.
That is true. That's a statement that Mr. Nutting made at a city meeting a couple of months ago. He and I had a very candid exchange about that because I reminded him that the library was their child as well as ours, and I said you don't hold your own child hostage when you're having a discussion with your spouse. So this is a marriage, and it's every day is not a honeymoon in a marriage. And we will get through this at some point, but I just wanted to make sure that this was all out in the open, that you all had been aware of the letter and the proposal that I had made for how to deal with this. I don't think we can just simply ignore it. I think we'll have to take some kind of action, but ultimately 13 of you will have to decide what that action is. Commissioner McAfee.
I know when ambulances are dispatched in cases where people have insurance, the insurance companies are billed. Is there any way 911 calls can be billed to insurance companies?
I don't have the answer to that. The only ones I could think would be capable of billing would be EMS, which they do. But I don't think that you can charge a fee for police or fire protection that I'm aware of. Yeah. Anything else? Commissioner Gray, election of notaries.
Chairman, make a motion to approve the list of notaries for this 18th day of June 2012.
Have a motion, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Brown. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion to adjourn is made by Commissioner Gray and second by Commissioner Brown. All those in favor say aye. We stand adjourned.